Welcome back to another episode. Back to back days uploading onto YouTube. We got more 2020 draft content for today. I wanted to run through my top five quarterbacks for the 2020 draft. Pretty deep class with quarterbacks. Seven or eight names that come to mind. Brought the list down to five. In my opinion, the five best quarterbacks. A couple, missing the cut that are big names. But I like my list. I've watched a lot of videos, a lot of tape on them, and I think that from 5 to 1, it's definitely a solid list. Let's get right into it. Number 5, I have Jake Fromm out of Georgia. He played 3 years as a starter in Athens, and as a true freshman, he brought the Bulldogs to a national championship. I had the pleasure of watching the Rose Bowl that year live in Pasadena. Absolutely incredible game. That was against Oklahoma. Obviously, Baker Mayfield's Oklahoma Sooners. Great OT game. And when it comes to Fromm, he's had a lot of media attention throughout the last few years. He was on a Netflix series. He's a good looking kid out of Georgia. Lots of camera attention. He's done very well since he was a freshman. So, I think that he could, fit into a specific system and strive there. His best year was probably as a freshman. When he was a freshman, he was dominant. He looked great. Not to say that he wasn't great for the next couple years, but I think as a freshman, when I watched him, and especially when I watched him live, I thought, man, like this guy in a couple of years, he's gonna be number 1 pick, top 3 pick. And it kind of changed over the next couple of years. He wasn't as dominant, didn't progress as well as people thought he would. 2019 in the 60% completion percentage, definitely respectable. He kind of fell victim in a way to the team. Kirby Smart's team was more run the ball. Use that to do your play action. And at his time in Georgia, he had absolutely phenomenal running backs. He had Sony Michel, Nick Chubb. Obviously, they did a lot of the heavy lifting in his freshman year to bring him to the national championship, of course. You had DeAndre Swift, who is declared for the draft this year, and he might probably be a first or second rounder. He'd be the first running back off the board. So he was helped out a lot in the run game with those studs of running backs, and his wide receiver core was solid. Not as flashy as Alabama, but he had Mecole Hardman, of course. No other big names. Terry Godwin, who's not tearing it up. Javon Wims, Isaac Nada, who's a backup tight end in Detroit. So not incredible wide receivers. Where someone like Tua was throwing to, but we'll get to his name later in the episode. And when it comes to Fromm, not going to amaze you with his arm strength. More of a game manager, more of that Alex Smith type, Drew Brees, if you will. I think that his arm is better than what the tape would suggest. But, you didn't really get to see that in Georgia, of him absolutely slinging the ball down the field. But he was able to beat out, Jacob Eason after Eason was injured during Eason's sophomore year and Fromm's freshman year. After that, he took over the role, and Eason was never able to get it back again. And he's probably my 6th quarterback on my list, but we're not going to get to him much. And Eason and Fromm are very different prospects. One with a huge arm, not as accurate. Fromm, not as big of a body, doesn't throw the ball as far. But Eason obviously transferred to Washington. He did okay there. But I do believe Fromm is a better prospect than Eason. Especially, he's got the big game experience. He's brought his team to the playoffs a few times. Last year he lost to LSU, to the best team in the country, so you can't really knock him for that. But he's a very good quarterback prospect. He gets through his reads. Um, scouts say he avoids sacks, um, but they also say that he throws with anticipation, great vision, maybe top three vision for a quarterback in this draft. You know, a game that I watched quite a bit was against Murray State, where a team like that isn't that that good of a team, and he wasn't that great against a team like that, and that's kind of what his whole collegiate career was like. He was good. He wasn't phenomenal. He was a system quarterback there at Georgia, and I know it's a term used a lot. And I guess every quarterback is a system quarterback because they have to play in a certain system for their coach. But I think Fromm did his job at Georgia well, and he wasn't asked to do much more. And also with every quarterback, I say the top five. I'm gonna say the dream team that I would wish they would go to, and make it reasonable, right? I don't think Joe Burrow is gonna fall to the 30s or the second round. But for Jake Fromm, I think the dream team would be the New England Patriots. He's definitely going to be there when they pick in the first round, probably going to be in the second round as well. He's got a high football IQ, something that Bill Belichick wants. He's very good at the chalkboard, knows his X's and O's, doesn't have the huge arm that New England has had for. They don't really have quarterbacks with those big arms, but he'll be a very good system quarterback for Belichick. And as a Georgia fan, I'd love to see him go to a team like New England and hopefully win some football games. Going into number 4, Utah State quarterback Jordan Love. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's great. I see Mahomes-esque plays out of Jordan Love from when Mahomes was at Texas Tech. Pretty reasonable combine. Ran a 4.65. Good time. Nothing, insane, not too slow. And team sources, however, voted him as the most overrated prospect coming into the draft. And that's kind of alarming that, NFL teams don't really see Jordan Love at the level of hype that maybe fans do. And, I like him a lot. From what I've seen of him, he's a solid quarterback, great arm, very good off schedule, can throw on the move. But these NFL teams don't really seem like that, and that could cause him to fall. It could all be smoke and mirrors. You never know with these NFL teams, but he might fall to a team that could use him, use him a lot. I think he's a very good quarterback. Maybe sits a year, learns more, becomes a better quarterback over the next couple of years. And that Mahomes-esque play I see a lot in Jordan Love that comes from his different angles that he's able to throw the ball. Lots of different platforms. On the move, can sidearm that ball, sling it to a wide receiver right on the edge of the bounds. So I like Jordan Love's ability to move, throw in the run, throw different angles. He's quite flashy. However, I noticed on tape that he throws flat-footed at times. Some poor mechanics at times. However, scouts love the ball he throws. A very tight spiral, very pretty ball in the air. And a tape that kind of stuck out to me was his game at Wake Forest. And there was many occasions where he stepped up very well. Quarterbacks sometimes with big arms have the ability to just keep drifting back in the pocket, knowing that they have the arm strength to just let it rip. Jordan Love isn't really like that. He steps up, sees the pocket collapsing a little bit, steps up, makes that throw. So for that, I think that, mechanics are solid, could be much better. Slightly lighter on his feet maybe. But that's something I liked a lot. And similar to Fromm and other quarterbacks on this list, his last year, 2019 year, wasn't as good as years prior. 2018 was his best year. by far, and that's where his hype kind of built. Uh, he was absolute solid player in 2018, and that's where he got all that attention. But the hype has kind of died out with Jordan Love as other prospects like Herbert and Burrow obviously got better. So I think that he has the ability after a couple years to be a solid starter. I don't see him starting as a rookie. I don't think that's the best idea for any team that would pick him up. But all of his mistakes can be taught. It's not a question of arm strength. He's got that. It's certain mechanics that a proper coach could fix, and that's why for the team I picked in the dream team, don't think they're gonna take him. Don't think he goes to this team. But a team I'd love to see him with is the 49ers. And I know it's an odd one as they have a quarterback and a very solid one who brought them to the Super Bowl. But what I like about the pairing between Kyle Shanahan and Jordan Love is that the knock on Jordan Love is his vision. Very poor vision. Where with Kyle Shanahan, he'll be able to. He's basically the quarterback whisperer. He tells you, all right, this guy's going to be open now, and if he's not, you go to this guy. Jimmy G isn't asked a lot to make these big flashy plays, but Jordan Love will have that arm strength that Jimmy G doesn't have. He could probably throw a quicker ball, but we'll be able to help him without his vision, help him know where the plays are going to be, where his wide receiver is going to be. So I'd absolutely love to see that. He stays out west, as he did play for Utah State. So I think that'd be an exciting pairing, but don't think it's going to happen. But you never know. Number 3, maybe surprising. I have Tua Tagovailoa here as opposed to 1 or 2. Certain people are higher on Tua. I really like him, but the reason why he's at 3 is kind of twofold. One is the team he played for. He played for the Crimson Tide, who they win. That's all they know is win. Jalen Hurts only lost 2 games for Alabama, and he's not a top 6 quarterback in this class. But Tua is a far better of a prospect than Jalen Hurts. He's 6. Tua comes in at 6 foot, not too big. Scouts say he plays small. It's not too much of a concern. I mean, you see some quarterbacks in the NFL who aren't that big that are very successful. When you talk about Tua, you talk about his accuracy, his poise. He's just able to zing the ball in there, very accurate. He obviously has thrown to incredible wide receivers at his time in Alabama, but very good off schedule. He can scramble. What he does best when he scrambles is that when quarterbacks tend to feel the pressure, they just tend to run up, get their 3 yards, slide, wherever, take a hit. Tua's not like that. He likes to buy his time, get out, stay behind the line of scrimmage, create more time for his great wide receiver core to get open. And that's what you notice on film with Tua. He does that a lot, and it's what allows him to throw the ball and rack up yards. He was great. Obviously, came in against Georgia to win the national championship for the Crimson Tide. So he's got quite a resume at his time in Tuscaloosa, and also, in high school, he's obviously from Hawaii. He broke records, shattered records that Marcus Mariota set. Now, I know that might be more impressive if we talk about the Marcus Mariota of 2 or 3 years ago, but it's still impressive. Knowing how dominant Marcus Mariota was as a prospect, coming out of high school. Nick Saban absolutely loves Tua. Very coachable. He always preaches how much of a team player Tua is, and that's something that NFL teams want, right? They don't want a head case. They don't want someone like Baker Mayfield, but someone like Tua, will be well respected in the locker room. He works hard, and he backs it up. He wins games, and he's a tough competitor. He's going to be a dual threat quarterback in the NFL, and I think he'll be a successful one. He can move, he can run, he's got legs. Unfortunately, he's had his abundance of injuries, a couple ankle injuries, and most recently, he's had a hip procedure done. And those are very serious injuries for a quarterback. So that's probably the biggest reason why he's number 3 on my list. I love Tua. I think he's an absolute stud. I think he has the highest ceiling in the draft, just due to his accuracy, and is able to move, his ability to get out of the pocket, scramble, get yards. But these injuries, causing a lot of time, a lot of games. So I think it's important to note. But staying away from the injuries, if you want to look at his numbers, he's got them all. He's got an 8-to-1 touchdown ratio. That's absolutely obscene. And he is a fantastic athlete. So, you hope Tua can get healthy. He says he's healthy right now, but you never know. And it's going to be tough for Tua to get a full medical rundown, during these unfortunate circumstances. So that might cause a team like Miami, who sits up, closer to the top of the draft, who's probably in the quarterback market, that might cause them some concern. But I don't think a team like Miami should fret. Tua is a fantastic prospect, and if he's there for them at 5, or if they feel like they need to draft up, they should take it. Miami fans will buy tickets. They'll go to the stadium, and that Tua to Devontae Parker, that should be money. Fans are gonna get excited. Easy market. He's not gonna have all the pressure in the world like if he played for the Jets or the Giants. So I think it's a perfect fit for someone like Tua. Now, my dream team is the Dolphins for him. I think that'd be extremely exciting, especially if they have the ability to draft someone like Ruggs or Jerry Jeudy with their second pick in the first round. That'd be exciting, right? Matching him up with another Alabama player. I think that'd be lots of fun. Scouts are quite fond of Tua as a prospect. They say he can look off safeties with his eyes. His ball, he throws a very nice ball. Doesn't throw the deep ball as well, but I think there's a lot to love about Tua, and I hope he goes to the Dolphins. I think that'd be exciting. I like Brian Flores. I like the team they got there. Lots of free agent signings. I think that they're gonna, if they draft, a solid quarterback and Tua can stay healthy, they can get a few wins next year. They can hopefully get to the 6 or 7 win mark. I know that's optimistic, but I hope the Dolphins can figure it out. My second prospect, there's 2 big names left, Burrow and Herbert. I went with Herbert at number 2. Incredible combine. He had an absolutely phenomenal combine. 4.68 40-yard dash for someone for that size at 6'6". I mean, great athlete, right? Showed off an incredible arm at the combine in his pro day. Saw a viral video of him standing at the goal line and keeping his feet in place, just throwing it 60 yards, just using his arm, and doesn't put his hips into it, just chucks the ball 60 yards. And that's what you're getting with Herbert, someone who can sling the ball out of the stadium. But you're also getting someone who's high IQ, high football IQ. He was a scholar athlete, 4.0 GPA kind of kid, like Andrew Luck type. And I think teams are going to kind of fall in love with a kid like that. And I think he goes in a top 10 pick. And he was eligible last year, and he probably would have been a top 5 pick. But he decided to go back to Oregon for another year, which I respect. He can graduate there. And he didn't do as good this year as he did last year. But, he was still a stud. Won the Rose Bowl this year. He had 3 rushing touchdowns also in that game. So he was able to show off that arm, but those legs specifically in that game. The kid's got a motor and he can run. He doesn't have the touch that maybe Tua has, or Burrow has. But man, he can throw the ball further than any of these guys. And you can't teach arm strength. You can teach other things like that, like touch, to become a slightly more accurate passer. That can be taught to Herbert. So I like him a lot as a prospect. I like his size. I like his, high IQ. I think he'll be a solid player. Hopefully he goes to the right team. The team I picked from, I think, is the perfect fit for Justin Herbert. But high ceiling. Doesn't have the injury concerns that Tua has, and that's why he's at 2, and why Tua's not there. Scouts say he throws a good ball. Sometimes it can be flat, and that causes some picks to the linebackers, deflections at the line. But you cannot deny the arm strength. And that's why he's number 2 on my list. My dream team for Herbert, is the LA Chargers. And it comes down to a quarterback needy team. I don't think Tyrod Taylor's the answer. It comes down to a West Coast team. He's an Oregon boy. Easy market. Fans will love that they have a kid from the West Coast. They'll sell tickets. LA, Chargers need to get LA fans into the stadium, and that's not what they don't have fans right now that are going to the games. So I hope that he falls to the Chargers. They're able to draft him. It depends what happens with Newton and all that. But I think it'd be a very exciting player to throw to Keenan Allen, throw to Mike Williams, throw to Hunter Henry. That becomes a high octane offense if he is as good as people think he is, and as good as I think he is. Running up the list is the obvious national champion, Heisman winner, Joe Burrow out of LSU. Most likely to go first overall to the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm expecting it. I'm happy for him. Kind of a tough franchise, not flashy or anything, but he stays in his home state. I think that's fun. Fans are going to absolutely love him. He's a tough competitor. Teammates are going to love him. Joe Burrow was very well respected in the locker room, worked his tail off, had a very good connection with coaches and players, and his numbers are off the charts. He had 5,600 passing yards, NCAA record, 60 touchdowns last year in 15 starts. And it doesn't get better than that. He broke Pro Football Focus metrics, pocket passer, incredible. He broke all statistics and metrics, along with a high football IQ, plays with this swagger that he's dominant, and that kind of swagger is infectious on a team, and that's what the Bengals need. It's just kind of a gray, stale franchise at the moment. They got great players. Don't get me wrong. Hopefully AJ Green can stay healthy. Mixon's a stud. They had the Alabama lineman coming back, who was unfortunately hurt in his rookie year, so he's coming back. Obviously Tyler Boyd, he's getting paid the big bucks, so hopefully he's good again, like he was the last couple of years. But when it comes to Joe Burrow, off schedule kind of passer, he can scramble. He had one of the most incredible plays I saw against Georgia, where he was just getting chased, and on the run just threw an absolute dart for like a 60-yard pass, and just kind of shows you what kind of player he is. He can move. He's got legs. He's tough though. He'll take a hit, get back up. The knock on Joe Burrow is that this was his only good year. Of course, it was an absolutely phenomenal year, but in 2018, he was lackluster. He was average. Obviously, he was a member of the transfer portal coming from Ohio State. But his 2018 year causes some concern with NFL teams. Also, he was in an absolute perfect fit at LSU. Coach O made it a priority to have an NFL pro style offense. They resembled the Saints, and absolutely phenomenal wide receiving core. Obviously, Thaddeus Moss, a tight end, fantastic offense up and down. And maybe it was just too perfect for Joe Burrow, and that's why he did so well. I really like Joe Burrow. I think he's got a very high floor. I think you know what you're going to get out of him out of the gate. Reports are Andy Dalton staying as a backup. I think that's good for Burrow. If he lands in Cincinnati, he'll be able to have a mentor, teach him the game. So that's something that's exciting. I think should be exciting for Joe Burrow. I hope that he goes. I hope he's happy to go there and play for them. Give Cincinnati fans something to get excited about. So that's my top 5 quarterbacks in the draft, including what teams I hope they go to. I think it's going to be a very fun draft. I think there's going to probably be 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. You never know. Maybe 4. Another team kind of jumps back in. You never know. The Las Vegas Raiders might want to get a quarterback. They're not. Many mock drafts don't have them taking one. Maybe give one more run with Derek Carr. But I think they could benefit from one of these, solid quarterbacks coming to them. They have a couple first-round picks. So I appreciate you listening. If you made it this far in the video. And we will catch you next time. Thank you.